Hey guys, welcome back. This is my video series where I'm working through the challenges in my book, The C Sharp Player's Guide, and we are working through the final battle. This is a giant bundle of 18 challenges that build a rather significant program. Let's see, we got two left, so we're through 16 of the 18, and we are to this Making It Yours challenge. And this is one where it says do whatever the heck you want. And then give yourself XP that you think is appropriate. Uh, I do want to say here, be a little careful. It is possible to dream up such wild, crazy things that you need a lot more than 400 XP to do. So you're welcome to do that, but just keep in mind that it could go down some very everything is a lot bigger than you think it is when you start working on it. So just take that under advisement and feel free to do whatever you want. So I'm gonna pick a few things to do here. I will say so. I'm actually gonna pick I think maybe a couple of things that are in this list. So I'm gonna scoot this aside. We'll talk through some options when we get there. The main thing that I want to say is at one point early on in this video series, I was talking about making it so that we could have like a menu that's like tree-like, where like you pick items and you go down into that, and once you're in there, then it says, well, here's your items, what do you want to use, and then you pick an item and then you use it. Or same with the equipment, or same with, so the top, it might be like use item, equip gear, attack, and rest, or something like that. And I I don't think that, yeah, anyway, and then you pick the option, then you go down farther, and I think you could do that. I think I've decided that that is more time than I feel like I can actually afford right this second. So I'm going to, despite what I kind of said I might do before, I'm going to not do that, and I might come back to that at some point and add it in. It's absolutely possible to do it, but I'm not going to try to take that on. I am, however, going to do some other things. So I'm sorry if that's what you were hoping for and then it didn't pan out. But um, that will just leave the challenge to you to do. So let's see, what can we do? The first thing I want to do, and this, I mean, um, I would probably give myself one or like 50 XP for this. But this kind of thing could be more than enough in terms of making it your own. I'm going to make it so that if you this rest action, I'm going to give it some value, because doing nothing really isn't like, other than it helped us get to this point, it helped us build a bunch of the infrastructure. Um, it's a useless action, and I want to give it some value. So the value I want to give it is, if you rest, then I want to recover one um, 1 HP. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say character dot current HP plus plus, and recovered 1 HP. Like that's the simplest way to do it. That might be enough. Like we could go run that, but I think we can go just a little bit farther here, and we can do something like, because what if we're maxed out, then this should, in fact, this right here, given that it's a property, we are already ensuring we never go above that limit. So we won't actually go above it. And what we could do is kind of like what we've done when we deal damage, or like use a potion to recover. We're going to remember what we had before and do, let's see, character.current HP minus original HP. So what we'll do, and I think I'll just split this up into two different lines, and we'll do, I'm going to use this Uber console that we made early on in this challenge. and allow us to have console color dark magenta, which is the color we've been using for healing for potions. Really, we've used it for, I think, well, no, I think that was only potions. But then here, recovered, amount recovered, HP. And we'll only say this if amount recovered is greater than 0. So anyway, so that's a little more complicated than what we had in the first place, but this just says we're going to save off the total HP hit points that we had before, and then we're going to try and add 1 to it, and then we're going to see, like, is our new current value any different? And we're always going to say this, but then depending on if we actually recovered something, then we will say we recovered that many HP. So now we can run this. And I do want humans. And let's see. So now we can rest. And it'll say Tog rested. And we'll let Vin Fletcher rest as well. And then the Stone Amarok we are going to attack. So now Tog is injured. And now if we rest, we should increase. Yeah, Tog recovered 1 HP. So it's not a lot of recovery, but it is something. This is the kind of thing, though, that if like these Stone Amaroks, given how hard it is to deal damage to them, they like, imagine if the Stone Amaroks, if the AI for this Stone Amarok was, you know what, just go into like defensive mode, just turtle, go in your shell and just defend yourself, which is something that I imagine these Amaroks being a lot more grotesque and bigger than a turtle, but like a Stone Amarok, I expect to kind of be a little bit like that. That it has a very protective shell, and it could turtle, it could hide. So if the AI just said, look, it's got the I don't remember what that defensive modifier is, but that like stone armor or something like that. If it did that and then heal and then rested every single turn, it would not ever deal any damage, but it would definitely, like that, like Tog's sword attack that deals 2 damage would never make progress against it. You would need Tog and Vin Fletcher working against it both in order to reduce that damage. And that's kind of, I like that concept. It's an interesting concept to be able to have. So, let's see. So that's all working. And like I said, that could be enough for this challenge. That we don't need to do any more than that. I do think that it makes sense to me. Like, let's do this other one. More heroes. So we had Vin Fletcher. We can add other non-player characters that we've encountered in the book. So this is two characters, but I think it's okay. I think we can do this. Maybe we'll give them a little bit more HP just because. I feel like they're a matching pair. They belong fighting together. They've been doing that ever since the Defense of Consoles. So, like we could have 2 separate characters, and they could I don't know, we could manage them as 2 separate characters. But I kind of like seeing them as, even though they're two separate people, I like them as a conceptually single character, as a pair. So when they die, then they both die together. Oh, that's so sad. What I want to do here, since we're inventing stuff, let's do a public class double punch. And this right here does 1 damage all the time. I kind of want to steal like what the Bone Crunch does, and do 2 punches, but with a smaller probability of working. But what I really want to do is like so 2 attacks that both they'll deal 1 damage or they won't. So there's actually so let's see there's a 50% chance that this will deal 0 and a 50% chance this will deal 1. Same over here, which means there's a 25% chance of dealing 0, a 50% chance of dealing 1, because there's a 25% chance of 0 and 0, a 25% chance of 0 and 1, which is 1 total damage, 25% chance of 1 and 0, which is, yeah, and then a 25% chance of 1 and 1. So this has a on average, this will deal 1 damage, but it can deal 25% of the time it'll deal 2 damage, and 25% of the time it'll deal 1. So it's, two people, double punch. That's their basic attack. However, we are going to not in here. We'll go over to gear, and we will add public class magic cannon. And this guy needs another attack. This should be, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something more flavorful in terms of a name. I don't know. Maybe we can just call it something like Shockwave or something. That's got a slightly more flavor. Nothing too crazy. Let's see. But it's also not just like boom. I don't know. Boom is a great name for an attack too. All right, so we need to be able to deal some damage here. And to stick with the challenges from early on, it would make sense for this to use the that Fizzbuzz pattern. We could do so actually in this case, this is the first one of these where we've had other state, like all these other ones have just like, whatever they are, it's just always the same thing. But in this case, it makes sense to have like a type private int usage number equals 0. So usage number plus plus. So we'll add 1 to it, and then if usage number is a multiple of 5 and it's a multiple of 3, return new attack data 15, and we'll do damage. I want, like, this might be a good place to add in additional damage types. Because none of these feel right. I think I'm gonna, like, with magic cannon there was like fire damage, electric, and then there's like a combo, fire and electric. But I think I'm gonna go just a little, like, I want it to be something a little different, and I don't know what that should be. Mystic. Let's call it mystic. So now we've got more options here. Mystic damage. If usage number, so mod 5 is 0, return new attack data. I think this was too much. I think that's supposed to be 10. And I think this was 3. Let's see. Hmm. This one I think was electric. And this one, if it's a multiple of just of 3, then it's fire damage. And then so in every other case, return new attack data 1 damage type dot. I think, yeah, maybe we need another. Bludgeoning doesn't feel right for a projectile, but yeah, it's a cannon. Again, forgive me if I'm not using the. That's somebody out there is a D&D fan and has played a lot of it. It's like, yeah, cannonballs are this, and yeah. So somebody can leave a comment in the comments and tell everybody what it ought to be. Like I say, it's not that hard to make more damage types. I we've added in 1, 2, 3 new types already for this. I don't know if I want to add a 4th just for this, but it's not like I couldn't go use electric and fire and mystic for other things too. So, all right, let's see. So these guys have this shockwave. The cannon has this has the cannon has the shockwave attack. And these guys have a punch attack if they lose their cannon somehow. Oh, you know what? I kind of wonder. Like I just looking at the numbers, that attack, this is by a long shot the most powerful thing. It's a guaranteed 1 point damage in the worst of cases, and in every third time and every fifth time it'll be at least 3 damage, which is very good, and then every 15th time it's 10 damage, and there's nothing else that's even close to that. So I do wonder about, like, I wonder if that's overpowered, and um and honestly it probably is. And what, like, I'm just trying to think through, like, what could we do to, like, make this not so overpowered. One thing we could do here is we could say probability of success is, we could say there's a 50-50 chance that any of these are going to actually hit. And then it's not a for sure thing anymore. It reduces the expected damage in half. So, like, in this case, it'll be, on average, it'll be 0.5. These on average will be 1.5, which is weaker than the slash attack. And it's just every little once in a while we get up to this. And you know what I'm gonna do, just I think for a gameplay thing, is this is the big bet. And I think I want to give people just a little bit of a little better than even chance of a little bit of a bias toward the big one succeeding. Um, if you are controlling the monsters, you are going to be sad about that. But you do have to use this thing 15 times to do it, and there's just not that many usages of it. So that's an easy way to, like, reduce the potency of this while still sticking with numbers that are, you know, straight out of the book. The other thing you could do is you could make these 2 and make this 5. Um, now it's not nearly as strong. Those weren't the numbers that were earlier on in the book, like the 10 and the 3 and the 1 were what they had in, when you were the hunting the manticore challenge. Why why should the numbers have been reduced? But it is a different game entirely, and I don't know. So, I mean, another thing we could do here is, like, make these all quite low. and then do this. So like in this case, like this is going to deal on average, it's going to deal like 0.25 damage when it's one of these, and here it's going to deal like I think it's 0.75 damage for each of these. So on average, we're dealing less than 1 HP. But like when we get to this, we're going to deal 5 damage on average. We'll deal 10 damage half the time. So this thing misses a lot, which isn't great for a cannon. Artillery should hit. Like if you're using it well, you should be hitting a lot more often than 25% of the time. But so you kind of have to like, this is like, we've made this into like the Magikarp of this game, where you kind of have to work through the crap in order to get to the big powerful stuff. So maybe we do that. Like I kind of like that because it's like I know this is going to have a big payout eventually, but I have to work through a whole lot of misses. And I kind of like that as a game mechanic. So maybe we'll maybe we'll leave it that way. And now the one thing we do need to do here is we need to give new Mylara and Skorin, and we need to give them gear equals new magic cannon. I am going to reduce a couple of these potions. I feel like these guys have a ton of potions. And I don't know. I don't really feel like they need that extra dagger. I think it's okay for that to be picked up over here. While we're in here, let's move this down here. And let's let's make another part. I'm actually jumping ahead a little bit here. All right, I'll quit jumping ahead. Forget that. We'll do that next time. All right, so rearrange the order. Now we've got this magic cannon, which I don't know how many XP that would be, but probably at least a couple hundred. And let's do human versus human so we can see all of this. Poor skeleton. It's got the true programmer, and we got this guy who's like this archer, and we got a cannon. They're gonna get demolished. Use a sword. Quick shot. Missed. Use the magic cannon. Missed. The skeleton gets a turn. Stab. What did he stab? Got Tog. Sword. Quick shot. Okay, we made it past it. Sword. Quick shot. Dead. Now we get to fire the cannon. Let's see. Missed. That's going to miss a lot. We know it's going to miss a lot. Sword. Men's bow. Oh, we beat. And now we got daggers and cake. More cake. Let's see. Attack with the sword. Quick shot, because punch isn't going to do anything. So this did actually deal. Oh no, I missed. Okay, I don't think we've actually seen that hit yet. Oh hey, that guy could have rested. Let's see. I'm actually gonna have. I kind of want these guys to rest. Oh yeah, if they rest, their HP goes up. I forgot about that. We already had it. We just barely added that in. I want to see this thing. Oh, that's sad. Our first hit, it got reduced by 1. Nothing happened. Missed again. Yeah, that's interesting how we've got that set up, because it honestly kind of like, just looking at that, like the whether it missed or not is something that we should probably resolve in the middle of this. And I think let's go do that. This type of tweaking is can't be like knowing like how do we handle all this stuff? It's not simple. Um, because like on the outbound side, the modifier we actually probably want to apply first. But come to think of it, like I don't know, like this is interesting. Like I do like I think we can for what we've currently got, we can scoot that in here and just only do this if we see it succeed. And that will ensure that we don't end up in this kind of situation. Like it missed and then we wouldn't even have the reduction. However, imagine if imagine if you had a modifier that affected the probability of success. You would want like applying that after you checked that is not helpful. So it's again it's complicated like and that's kind of the danger to how we did that, how this has this right here. We'd almost want to pull this out until we know like to separate it that way. So I don't know. There's maybe not necessary, like I said, making the change I just made there where the attack action shifts that in, that will work for the moment where we only have modifiers that like reduce damage. They don't change the probability of success. But yet that was something we talked about. That's one of the benefits of having that attack data the way it is. So I don't know. Well, we can think about that. There's a solution to everything in code. We can solve every problem. Um, However, it's worth saying that not every problem not every problem needs to be solved. We only want to solve the problems that are actually helpful, and the rest we wait until they matter more. So I don't know. Maybe is it like because the other thing to be said here is it really so bad that it does that? Like for example, we could say stone armor will reduce the attack by 1 HP. That'd be another way to solve it is to just kind of sidestep it. I would be okay with that. Maybe we'll do that. We just come down here and say will reduce the attack by that. Anyway, I don't know. Let's see. So we did that one, and there's another one here that I think might be fun to do. There's a make a Simula soup item that does a full heal. We've already got 2 healing items, so maybe it probably wouldn't be too hard to do a full heal. And in this case, we might want to do target dot max HP. So we just however much there is, we're gonna add it all. Um, so that one, that like I honestly, I think we're done. I don't know that we need to do more other than now there's this duplication in terms of like adding stuff. I'm trying to think what would be a like in terms of like reducing duplication because it'd be not again we talked about this before like we could have like a healing item that it just does stuff but what if we have something that it like it's an item and it like it isn't I mean it is a healing item but it's not just a healing item it like is like a leech it like it moves health from one character to another. Like imagine something that is like a leech that it takes 1 HP from every character in the battle and adds it to itself, including the people on your team. Like that could be an interesting thing. And like so in that case, like like yes, it's a healing item, but it's also like a damaging item. And to like try and make it do all those things is, I don't know, that starts to lead into that inheritance, like complex inheritance hierarchy that's hard to manage, where things are jealous of features that are in other parts of the inheritance hierarchy. And maybe just for the sake of experimentation here, one thing we could do is this. We could say, um, we could have characters have something like this. I'm just thinking out loud here. Um, yeah, I don't know if I want to try and remove that duplication right now. It probably deserves it, but these videos are already super long, and I need to keep this all within the realm of what I can actually like manage. If this were my only job, my only thing I needed to do, I would be a lot more willing to spend more time on it. But so I'm just going to talk through a possibility here, and I'm not going to write any code. I promise I will not write any code. I solemnly swear that I will not write any code. We could have an event. So anytime an event that is HP gained or something like that, and anytime we update this, if there's a change, it just raises that event. And then we could have separate from like this stuff, we could have another object that listens to every character in the whole game, and if any of them if any of them gain HP, then we just do this stuff. So it have to listen to like that guy is going to be a little complicated because he has to somehow get a hold of every character in the entire game. Uh, and I mean, there's a lot of other ways we could do that too. Like we could have like, um, I don't know, like that's the first thing that comes to my mind in terms of like getting rid of this duplication is we could just have this other object that's just it's watching every single character in the game, and anytime any of them gain HP, it just logs out this, and that pulls out all of this like logging to this whole separate class that allows us like now the bulk of the game can be reused in other non-console situations. So that's a possibility, and I kind of like that. Another possibility is the battle itself um, could have like some sort of like event like subsystem where anything can like drop in this like event like metadata, and so for example these things could say, hey battle, I just want to report that this character gained HP. And then again, so now you have this centralized event system where that would just like say, hey, all my like event handlers, I just want you to know that this event has happened, and it just like gives that out to anything out there, and then now you have a lot of flexibility that any number of things could be listening to HP being gained, including something like this. So now that's like this centralized thing where any like a potion or this thing could report to the battle that this happened, or maybe the characters report to the battle that it happened. Anyway, somehow it gets into the system, and that could be useful for all sorts of things, including like you could have like a logger class that is like listening to this centralized like event stream, and every single event that comes in, it just logs it to a file or logs it to a database, or I don't know what it stores it off somewhere, um, so that you can see this like event log of what's happened in the game and recreate it if you wanted. So that's something you could do. Like there's so many possibilities here, and I'm going to leave it alone for now, other than to ensure that these guys have. I'll keep the cake in there, but we'll give them soup. So Simula is not the kind of person who's going to go join this battle, but Simula would totally send soup. uh, so I kind of want, well, that skeleton use. Okay. This is the part where yeah, that unraveling attack would be way better suited to go against one of the other characters because Tog's got that object side that's protecting him. But I want the characters help to get down just a little bit. And they won. That was awesome. I wanted to use the soup. Turns out you don't need it. We'll let the computer control that, partly because it will go faster, partly because then the encoded one can actually attack the other characters because the computer AI it will pick a character at random and everyone else. You know, that 2 seems super. That was my complaint before, as I kept getting 2 damage. Let's use. I better just use it before I lose my chance. So I'm gonna use the soup. Did it work? Gained 4 HP now at 20. I mean, it was a full heal. I wish I had been more damaged than that to make it worth it. But anyway, that's I let's see. So that we now added in that soup. I wanna there's actually I wanna look at these attacks again just because it's starting to feel not like a total coincidence that this unraveling attack seems to keep getting 2. So let's see. We're passing in 4 and 2. And this should be so this will be 4 and 2. So max minus so 4 minus 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. And min inclusive should be so 3. So that'll be 2. So it'll be well, okay, hang on. 4 minus 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So this is random.next 3, which means our options are going to be 0, 1, or 2. So we'll either add 0, 1, or 2 to the min value of 2. I don't know. That looks correct. However, I do think that this definitely deserves being a lot more lethal. And okay, hang on. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. We will come back to that. I want that to be 0.6. We'll come back to that. But there is a challenge next that will have us tweak values to make it balanced, restoring balance. We'll do that. Let's see, what else should we do? An offensive attack modifier. Um, Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do the offensive attack modifier. And I don't think I'm going to do this like characters equipment. Like I we've done way more than what's strictly necessary for this, making it yours. I'm just wondering if some of these might be interesting additions here. And maybe this, so let gear provide offensive and defensive attack modifiers. A binary helm that reduces all damage done by one when equipped, for example. Like that probably wouldn't be too hard to do. So maybe we can do that. Well, I suppose the problem is that the we go to gear, it has an attack and it's expecting there to be an attack. So the first thing we need to do is say maybe this doesn't have an attack. And yeah, that's gonna. But the nice thing is this brought up all the stuff. And character.gear.attack does not equal null, except for we can reduce that. Gear.attack does not equal null. So that should fix that one. And then here we probably want to say if gear.attack is not null. Do that. And maybe the same thing here. If character.gear.attack does not equal null, we'll use that. Hey, that was really convenient. It told us all the places that we needed to go fix. I'm happy about that. But now we can add in a similar thing, public abstract, I attack modifier that may or may not be there. Defensive modifier. Let's see. So all of these things are going to have to override it. And for that reason, I kind of it makes me wonder if this is really the right design for this. Um, for example, we could make this virtual, and now now you can override it, but like in this case, like I so now anything could do that, but do we want to do the same thing here? Virtual that. So now all these things still work, but now we can come down here and do public class binary helm help gear public override name. It's the second time I've done that. And now we can just override defensive modifier, not the base. Equals I'm trying to. We need a new attack modifier, kind of like this stone armor that reduces the attack by 1. And I like we could just I don't know. I guess what I'm thinking is this could just be pretty generic. Uh, This is a really boring name. So I don't love it, but let's see. Where was that? New armor protection. And now we could give the skeleton. Oh, he's already got a dagger. New. Now this binary helmet isn't just a plain old. Yes, it's a fancier name. It's not just helmet, steel helmet or anything like that. This is something fancier. So I wonder if we should maybe make it a little more interesting. But here, oh yes, we haven't. We got it in there, but our attack action doesn't account for it, and it should. So this should right in here. Where is that? Attack data equals. Okay, so we could do similar thing. Attack data equals target dot gear dot defensive modifier dot modify attack data. Otherwise, just use attack data. So that will, if there's no gear, it'll skip it. If there's no defensive modifier, it'll skip it. But otherwise, it'll also apply. I don't know that it matters. It definitely doesn't matter with what we've currently got, because everything is just like add, subtract one kind of stuff. So the order shouldn't matter, but I feel like the gear, like it should work its way inward. The gear does something, and then the characters stuff should do something. So I do feel like I've changed my mind. I don't want to call this armor protection. That's too boring. So we'll call it bitwise shielding. Apply. And in addition to, so it'll reduce stuff by 1, but I do want to say if the input dot, if the type is coding, this sounds like the opposite of that. So return attack modifier utilities dot reduce by, instead of reducing it by 1, let's reduce it by 2, or 3 even. So if it's decoding damage, this is going to be super nice protection. Everything else is just going to reduce it by 1, which is still substantial. And so let's see, we gave the skeleton a binary helm instead of a dagger, which is fine. And now we should get, hopefully, yeah, so let's see. I just want to look at a couple of these. Let's see. So Toggy slash on skeleton. Bitwise shielding will reduce the attack by 1 / dealt 1 slashing damage. Then Fletcher used quick shot. Bitwise shielding will reduce the attack by 1. It dealt 2 piercing damage. Skeleton's now at 2. Used shockwave on skeleton. Bitwise shielding will reduce the attack by 1 HP. It missed. It's the skeleton's turn. Used a potion. All right, that's fine. This skeleton's not going to get a chance. 0. The skeleton really doesn't have a good attack. Maybe we should make it a little better later. Anyway, I need to run this with a human. Sure. That. And I used a potion. Sword. Quick shot. Magic cannon. Sword. So, Skeleton's been defeated. Skeleton's binary helm was acquired by the other party. This wave's been defeated, advancing to the next wave. So now I have this binary helm. And like I said, in the final battle, having somebody equipped with that to like block all that stuff, it's definitely going to be well worth it. But even here, like I could see, we'll use the sword, but then let's equip that, and then now I've got his punch. It worked. Magic cannon, 1 bludgeoning damage. Yeah, punch isn't going to be useful at all on a stone Amarok. Well, this has definitely gotten harder, and maybe that's because Ben Fletcher should probably pick up his bow again instead of the binary helm. I like that binary helm, but it is right now you need to be able to deal damage to be useful. Missing is not that. There we go. Got rid of one of them. That'll make a big difference. Missed. They missed too. Miss. Did that one work? No. It might have bludgeoning. It would have done some damage, but it kind of waiting to get to that 15 part. Might have already missed it. There we go. 9 mystic damage. Really didn't need it. At this point, I wish I had saved it for later. I wish I had used it in my next turn. It would have been better. All right, so now we're going to slash, and now let's equip that binary helm. And I'm doing that. I'm having Vin Fletcher do it because Tog's already got something that protects against unraveling. So Tog and Vin Fletcher both have a lot of protection against unraveling. Ooh, 4 damage. That's a lot of damage. Punch. That's about, missed. Tog really should use a potion now. No potion? Okay. Cake? Not a whole lot. Yeah, so we got that bitwise shielding. That's helping. All right. Those guys are in trouble. Except I want to use I'm going to end up winning this. I'm going to have both of these to wait, and then I'm going to might be taking a risk here because this thing can deal 6 damage, but I'm going to rest. I want to see the full heal work. Oh, the uncoded one took a potion. All right. I don't feel too bad about attacking. Now let's use the soup. Recover 14 HP. Gained 14 HP. Hey, 2 potions. All right, now let's just finish this guy off. There we go. I'm going to scoot this back over here and just look at this. Like we did do, so this time we did do, we added in another hero. We added in that. We did this soup thing. We did not add offensive modifiers, but we did add this. And I've done this before. There's like I actually, when I was inventing this challenge, I ended up going down this path, and I had this. This was going to be one of the challenges, and I just got to a point where like, look, I can't do them all. I'm gonna just have to make a category of do your own stuff, and I'll maybe include that in there. But like I love that concept. I'm not gonna do it right now. All of these are actually really interesting, but I think I better stop here. We've done way more than we needed to. Um, and we got one more challenge to do. It's this restoring balance. We will do that next time, and we will stop here for now. So thanks for joining me on this, and I will see you next time.